Heroes Council, welcome back for another episode of the Hashtag Show. How are we? Well, I hope. Safe, I imagine. Sweating your balls off. It is warm again, ladies and gentlemen. Your gusset is making a pint of boss soup every single day. But whatever you are, whatever you're doing, I generally hope you're well. Thank you for joining us for another week. Now, if you've tuned in looking for a wee solo gibble rant, alas, this week you will be disappointed. But I hope your spirits will be lifted because I have an absolutely incredible guest on the podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to say that I am about to welcome the wonderful, the incredible, the lovely, the talented, the beautiful, the downright dashing, the amazing and talented Andy Haldane, Scottish producer. To the stars. To the stars. We've just finished, which is odd because I'm recording the intro once we're done. But Andy's just left. And it's a 2-hour conversation, him and I, and we talk about everything. We talk about Mal, we talk about Ultrasonic, we talk about the Scottish rave scene, we talk about production, we talk a little bit about AI as well. And we talk about lots of things. It is a wonderful conversation. I cannot thank Andy enough for coming in and spending some time with me. And I really hope that you enjoy this episode. So sit back, unbuckle your belt, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy a 2-hour conversation with myself and the wonderful Andy Haldane. See you in a bit.
Welcome to the Hashtag Show. Everyone's welcome, no one is safe. Welcome to the Hashtag Show. Winter is coming, but we hate snowflakes. Welcome to the Hashtag Show. Chucky Arla, we are the people. You should become a hashtag hero. You should become a hashtag hero. You should become a hashtag hero. The Hashtag Show.
So, what sort of...
Very, very chilled, mate. Very relaxed. This is not an interrogation. I have got questions for your wife.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
You can interrogate. You need to interrogate me. Do you know? I actually revised my life before I came out.
No way. Just try to remind things in your head, right? Okay.
Not all of it, just some of it.
The 90s, probably.
Yes, the 90s is the bit I can't remember. Well, I can't remember it, but
Well, I mean, I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about.
go on.
But I just want to say, like, generally, I can't thank enough for coming in. Like, really, I cannot thank you enough for.
Thank you
just
for
coming out
asking
of
me. I
time.
feel honoured to be here.
I'm honoured to have you. I think I've had a couple of DJs in, like, but I think you're the first sole producer.
Right.
No, so we obviously first met at a shit time when it was Mal's funeral,
Yeah.
right? Like the worst times. But even in that day as well, there was humour.
Oh.
Because that's what I've struggled since we lost Mal to do, and I still do, but I'm getting better at remembering the good stuff, and I'm getting better at like listening to old episodes of this show and remembering my mate and having a laugh again.
Yeah.
But even on the day when that poor boy came through to sing that song as well, that Maria had found him on Facebook.
Yeah.
I have never seen a man as stressed in my life. That poor boy. I have never seen nor heard of that man again. I don't know where he is. I think he drank a full jar of Manuka honey before he came through as well.
He's a school teacher.
Right, okay.
And
so he's
do you
under
know,
enough stress.
He's a good player, but when he arrived earlier, because we had a quick play before the funeral started, and you could hear it in his voice. You could hear his throat. I think he's probably due to come from a health perspective.
Yep.
And he just wanted to do it. He just wanted to not let anybody down.
Yep.
And oh my God, I was like, oh, I hope he's okay. He did great. Actually.
Oh, he did amazing.
He did amazing because
he really did.
He put everything into it. And that's all you want from anybody when they perform is to put their absolutely every single bit of energy into it.
But all I can think of is that he put that on Facebook as a tribute to someone who met someone, and never in his wildest dreams did he think, or wildest nightmares did he think he was then going to be asked to perform it at the funeral.
Yeah,
because the poor boy, when he got in the car, was like, "You all right?" Like, just try to keep it relaxed. And how you doing? And just went, "I've drank a full jar of Manuka honey." I was like, "Fair enough. I'm Scott. Pleasure to meet you." This is going to go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Thankfully it went well, but this could be spectacular. And then when we were setting up and you were doing the sound check, Ross had went through to put his bag in. So we went through the side door, crematorium, and then Ross, just for whatever reason, thought, "Oh, this is like another waiting room," went through it the other door, and now we were back in the inner workings of the crematorium, and there's two guys in there going, "You all right, boys?" And we're going, "Oh, we've came through the wrong door."
I know the door you're talking about. No, I didn't go through that door.
And then I had to quickly run back out of the room, and I'm going, "Brilliant. Only today would you try and walk into the back rooms of the crematorium."
It was one of those days, wasn't it? It was that it was a lovely day. That's strange to say, isn't it?
Yes.
But it was a lovely day that we...
I was fine up until I heard the pipes, and then that was me. That was me locked in. I went, I can't. I actually, for the first time, my legs went heavy, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk in.
You're going to have me crying.
That's all right, mate.
But I was just going to say that I'm sure Ross felt exactly the same. I'm sure you did, and Mark, I know, did, because you could see it in his face. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to do the thing that I could do.
Yep.
Because I was talking beforehand of people would maybe get up and speak, and I thought, maybe I'd like to speak. And I thought, what the hell? What am I going to contribute? The one thing I can do, that I can definitely do, is play some of Mallorca's music. Mm-hmm. And I can do it because so many occasions he asked me to playing tracks of his, and I thought I want to do that. And oh my God, you only need to ask my wife how much time I spent between Ross actually asked me through Maria, and because I was just absolutely determined to do it well, and I was doing it for Maria and for Ocean and Angel. Actually, I was, as much as I was doing it for Mallorca. I wanted, because those were the songs. That was the songs that when Mallorca sat down with us and Ross and I, and we heard the songs the first time, they didn't have all the other stuff. It was just basic ideas that those were the songs, and they were strong, and just piano and vocal and guitar. I thought it sounded great. I'm so proud that I was able to do it. I'm so pleased. But
I mean, the takeaway from the day itself, but that album, the music on that is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, I used to wind him up all the time when he would play stuff for me, and I go, that's not yours. Like, you've stole that for somebody. Like the Bikini State stuff as well. Like, when he first played that for me in the house, I remember thinking, like, well, that's a rip-off, so who is this? And he's like, dude, and then told me obviously the story behind it. I'm going, fuck it, it's mind-blowing. Yeah. Like, even that itself as well, like, on a production side, the amount of stuff that finally, the levels it has to go through to get to nowadays, I suppose, like a Spotify, right? So that public can hear it. But the amount of content or music that will never be heard, which could be some of the greatest music ever, because it's either gone into the wrong hands or the wrong people have been involved, or it's just projects have just fallen apart. Yeah. But when I first heard that album, I remember I was in the car and they gave me the CD and I was driving back and I'm going, this is like amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It is. Having worked with Roger and Mallorca for, I think, 5 years by the time we started doing that. And we'd done obviously all the Ultrasonic tunes, but we'd also done Bass Baby and Experimental Fluctuation and actually loads of other projects that either the song got stolen for something else or it got named something else. Okay. But things that never saw the light of day. So when they came in and said, we want to do a track that's got like guitars and beats and acid in it, I was like, that's fine. We can do that. It's pretty much just a development on what we're going to do. And Mallorca says, but I'm going to do proper raps in it. I was like, great, you can do it. He's like, but I can't. I was like, you can.
And he could.
You can do it. But he was so shitting it.
Right, okay.
Oh, the first 3 or 4 tracks, he just had no confidence at all.
Right.
It was quite incredible that people would only know Mallorca as super outgoing, and he'd already had huge success at that point. But it felt like rather than him, he wasn't playing an incidental role in the vocals and the Ultrasonic tracks, but they were episodic throughout the tracks. Whereas he was in the Bikini State stuff, he was absolutely linchpin in it all the way through. It was relying. The whole thing was based around the vocals, and he just didn't have the confidence at all. So it took some effort to get him to believe that he could do what he could do.
Yep.
And I think it was maybe only by about the fourth track where he came in and he was on it from the first moment, and it was like, okay, now we're actually doing a thing here.
Yep.
This isn't just
something completely different as well.
Yeah, this isn't just like one or two tracks. And I was telling somebody about this Bikini State about 6 months ago, and I was saying I described it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like the Prodigy, like Fat of the Land."
Yeah, no,
I was like, well, yeah, but hang on, I've actually got a DAT that's got the date of and just go on Wikipedia and find out when Fat of the Land came out, right? And apart from anything else, Fat of the Land didn't have actual guitar and bass tracks. It was mostly samples, and it's like, so this stuff was done in like 96, and Fat of the Land came out in 97. So this is before that.
Yep, and before things like Limp Bizkit as well.
Yeah, before all of that.
Yep,
and I don't think we thought we were breaking boundaries, because I think you can listen to other things from earlier and see there was a degree of progression, but certainly for Roger Mallorca to suddenly be doing full songs which weren't employing a session singer like Do You Believe in Love or Obsession, that was actually them and their heart and soul completely in it, and it had lots of live instruments in it, was just amazing. And for me, it was brilliant, because I think the first several tunes, I don't think I played bass in them all, but I played bass in about 4 out of 7 or 8 first things that we did, until the band came on and they had their own bass player. So I was at a job. I was just back in the desk again. And then Jim, who worked in the shop up above the studio, it was the phone. Jim, can you come downstairs for 20 minutes? The boys need some guitar playing.
And Jim would just come down and
come down and absolutely rock out. And either we had a riff idea, or he would just rock out and he would do something. And there's quite a few of the tunes that the guitar is a major part. But there's one song that we came for What's Ours? Is that what it's called? Which is maybe my favourite tune of the lot.
Okay.
The best bit's the guitar solo at the end. I absolutely love the guitar solo, because Jim came down, played an amazing guitar solo, and we had this crazy box that I can't remember what it's called, that we'd mashed it up and messed it up, but it still just sounded like somebody playing a guitar solo over the track.
Okay.
And Mallorca turns around and says, "Reverse it." I was like, what do you mean? Reverse the whole solo. So there was a button you can push in Logic, and it literally just reversed the whole file. And I'm thinking, this is a stupid idea.
Yep.
Another one of his stupid ideas, right? Just reverse the file and just hit play to prove to him it was a stupid idea. It's fucking brilliant. Because you can't play it. You can't play what's there, because nobody would have done what it's done. But it's this ethereal, strange, weird, wonderful, but it is actually just what was played but reversed. And it just makes the track for me, because it was that moment in time where, again, Mallorca would say something, do something, stretch the limit, that so often I would look at him as if to say, what the fuck are you? That's not how you do it.
That's not how it's done,
That's
Mallorca.
not how it's done. And you go, all right, okay, but that's how you do it. And I stopped telling him. I never did ever tell him, because I recognised pretty early on that when somebody's got other ideas, when they're not in the box, when they don't even fucking see the fucking box, then that's genius.
But then I suppose, as I'm listening to you telling the story, I'm just thinking, like, how much of that is down to the fact that you have had that relationship before, so he feels comfortable with you, that he's able to bring this to you, because he obviously, like you're saying, felt as if, not maybe that he couldn't do it, but that it may have been such a detachment from Ultrasonic. and it was something completely different that maybe he didn't think he could do it.
He didn't.
And then when it comes to you, and then
he wanted to, but he didn't think he could do it. He was pretty damn convinced he couldn't do it. And it's still, to this day, it's really sad to me that it's still never been heard out with those and such as those
within the inner circle.
Who've got an MP3 of it. I really think that one day it will be heard.
I mean, I really hope so, because I can remember the first time it was in the house in Paisley, and he played a song. In fact, we were just messing about. Like, this all started. Mal and I got really close because when we used to end recordings, Gary would just bolt off, right? And I would kind of feel my anxiety kicking in, going, I feel bad leaving this guy tidying up his studio, right? Which was just chaotic. But and every time I used to go, like, mate, you need to. And he'd be like, somebody's unplugged something. I'm going, like, nobody else is in here. Like, you've unplugged it. And I remember once moving the desk and just see it, like Jackson Pollock painting a wires. Like, I've never seen it like. I'm going, how can you see it? Anyway, so we're in playing about, and he went, did I ever tell you about Bikini State? And I thought this was a bammer. I went, what the fuck is Bikini State? It's like, that was a thing I done. I was like, what? I went, I full album. Then tell me different stories when they're in Japan and different things with the band and whatnot. And then he let me hear a track, and I generally went, that is not you. Like, that's a bammer. And then he played another one. And it, like, generally, because he always thought I was winding up, I'm like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. Like, it is actually, it's phenomenal. Yeah. And it's painful that it's not out there. It really is.
I think that's actually what they wanted to do when they did Ultrasonic. Ultrasonic was just the thing they had to do. Partly because they were younger and they didn't have experience. They didn't know even how to reach there. Mm-hmm. So when they were 18, the idea that they could have done that just wasn't going to happen. But they paid their dues, did lots and lots of different things, and they'd built up their skills and their experience, and they got to the point where that's definitely what they want to do. There was no question of it. And it was a secret. You know, it was a secret. Yeah.
And now we're just talking about the podcast. But, well, nobody will know what we're talking about.
Well,
but that's the beauty of it.
No, it was a secret in that, he's no longer with us, but Bill Granger from the record company was paying for the sessions.
Right.
Because we were doing ultrasonic edits.
Okay, right.
So we weren't doing ultrasonic edits. Yep. We were doing their new project that they were going to go off elsewhere with. But everything that Club Scene paid for was from their profits anyway. So they weren't stealing the money from them.
No,
they were just managing to get the money from them. And if you've ever spoken to anybody else who was signed to Club Scene, getting any money out of Club Scene was not the easiest thing. There's still all these Club Scene tracks, of which I was the artist and writer, that are all on Spotify. And I don't think they're getting many views, and I don't think I'm due lots of money, but I haven't been paid a penny from Club Scene since about 1998. So,
see, the more people I speak to who are involved, and it just, every time I hear it, I just think it's just like comedy that in music. It's just, see, when there's any form of creativity, I always think there are a group of people who are talentless and have no creativity whatsoever, but they can just maneuver themselves into places to go, listen, son, you give me 50% of your talent and I'll open that wee door there, or I'll slip you a fiver here. Yeah. The number of stories are, and the sad thing is it will just continue for as long as there is music.
The thing is, though, Club Scene was funded by Ultrasonic.
Mm-hmm.
The entire Club Scene operation was funded by Ultrasonic. So you could argue that all these other people got the opportunity because of the profits of Ultrasonic. And Bill was just playing the numbers game, trying to say. There was a point probably between 94 and 95, and he was just signing everything. Everything he could get his hands on, he'd just sign it. And I was so busy doing this, that, and the other that he would send me, and a lot of it was fine. And some of it was pretty good. Yep. Some of it was excellent. Some of it was absolutely and utterly terrible. But
I suppose, again, that's when something grows to that size and they just absorb things that it can be.
He was just trying to take over the Scottish music industry. That's why he had more than one label, and he'd also, because he'd grown really, really large in the Bathgate office, had all these people working doing graphics and all the rest of it. You need to keep them busy.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in the days where you could spend £1,000, you could pay for a studio, you could press 1,000 records, and the very worst that would happen is you'd make £1,000 profit. So for him, because he had his own distribution, Jim would go out with the van and he'd go, I've got these records here. Do you want to buy these? And they go, oh, I don't know, but do you want any Ultrasonic records? Yeah. Well, if you want these, you need to buy some of these. So it was an ecosystem which worked for everybody, but it worked for club scene best. There's a lot of businesses are like that. I can hardly complain.
Yeah. I just want to go back, right back. Right, so I was trying to do, and I don't want to make you greet or anything like that, right, but I was trying to do a little bit of research. You're a secretive man, Andy. I was struggling to find some things, but I did see
I'm really not that much of a secret.
Well, I did see a post Mal put up on Facebook, right?
Right.
And this is why I wanted to talk to you about Bikini State and Ultrasonic stuff as well. But so he had described you as his fifth Beatle.
Right. Even though there's only three of us, but
that's against the power of Mal. It says Andy brought clarity to tracks, nailed vocals, knowing how to get the best out of every vocalist and musician. Without Andy, I don't think we would have been as successful as we were. And I think that shows the strength that your relationship had as well, how much that he would rely on you for production.
Yeah, that the last time I saw him, we talked like this, and we both thanked each other. Because I credited him with my ability to have made music. I finished a track a week ago. I'll talk about that in a little bit later. Yep. But that I am 58 and I have still managed to do a cool track a week ago, 10 days ago. And that comes from having the opportunity to do music for so long.
Okay.
That means you get to flex the muscles, and because I was pretty good when I was young, but to be good in so many different ways, you need to just do lots of it
over and over.
And I got to do lots of it because I did two things in pretty quick succession that were both pretty successful. Worked with John Campbell, TTF's Real Love, and then I worked on Obsession by Ultrasonic. But I didn't stay working with John Campbell. I only did a couple of 2 or 3 things with him, whereas I stayed working with Roger Mallorca. And that gave me that pillar. Well, the two of the TTF to a smaller degree, but they gave me that sort of pillar of positioning. And then you get to work with lots of other people, and some of it's not what you want to do, and some of it's closer to what you want to do, and you learn and you develop your skill. And I got to do it. And I thanked him. I said, you're thanking me for what I helped you do with, but you let me make music. And it's all I really wanted to do. And I got to do that because of him. And yeah, of course I helped. I helped. There might have been somebody else that helped, but would I? They have had because in so many ways I'm much closer to Roger as a personality. But maybe that's why myself and Mallorca hit it off so well.
But when I first met you at Mal's funeral, I had this image in my head. I thought you were going to come in like, I don't know. I actually don't know what I thought. I thought you might actually just float in, there's no movement, like you just kind of come gliding through. This, mate, I thought you were going to be like a rock star, like just handing out cocaine. I'm like, this Andy's Mal's producer. That's what Ross kept saying. And then I met and I'm going like, this guy, the most straight laced guy I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. I know, it was bad, absolutely bad. I never went to any raves. Never did any of that.
Really?
No, never. The only rave I went to was the Club Scene Awards in 93, it might be, the one that John Campbell and Mallorca had a fight.
Okay.
Famously had a fight, and that happened after myself and my wife left. And we went along, and so I'm only 4 years older than Mallorca, but I had a kid when I was 24.
Right.
So by the time we'd met, I had a 1-year-old. So
you were on different paths already at the start, yeah.
Completely different paths. I was already straight-laced and boring anyway. But I was just laser focused. I just wanted to hit records.
Mm-hmm.
I just absolutely just wanted to make music. I wanted to make the absolute best music I possibly could. And for me, music was about singing and drums. All the rest of it's just the shit in the middle.
Okay,
it's not that I don't like it, and I actually do, I do sing a bit, but I don't play the drums. I play piano and play bass. But But that was my absolute utter focus, is because my best pal, other than Mallorca in the world's, I was going to say a woman called Melanie, who I was at school with, and the track I've just done was with her. She's doing the singing. I just did a remix of it. And so when we were at school, we started working together, and it was all about the vocals, because she's an amazing singer. So I was hugely vocal based, and that was my everything. I just thought people sing along with a song and they dance to the beat. Actually, almost no matter what style of music. I don't mean dance music, just kind of anything short of a piano ballad. But even then, some of them you're still swaying to the beat. It's all about that. So that was my absolute everything. And I just think that I probably just hit the mark, and I filled in the gaps in Roger Mallorca's skill set as much as anything. So when the two of them rocked up with Heather to do Obsession, with the most chaotic, see the chaos you saw in the studio, in his house, imagine moving that about. They brought like 7 keyboards. They didn't know how to connect them all up. They couldn't find the discs that contained the sequencing for the song. Heather comes up, she just won't fucking shut up. She's still as loud now, but you can imagine what she was like when she was younger. And I'm just trying, I'm in an absolute flooded with sweat, just trying to think, how can I do this? How can I pull something together?
Okay.
And I didn't realise that we'd done something brilliant until about 4 months later, when somebody came in to work with me and said, can you do it? Can you make it sound like the Ultrasonic tune?
Wow. All right.
And I was like, what? Because I hadn't worked with them again since then. It'd been a one-day thing.
Right. Okay. So Obsession was done in one day?
Yeah. Session was done in one day. Almost all the things I did for Club Scene were done in one day then.
That's insane, man.
I'm still that stupidly fast. It's,
See, you should be charging me the day and making this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so somebody came in and said, can you make it sound like that? And they described what it is they wanted. They wanted the bass drum to be the way it comes in with the big, and I'm just thinking, that was a fucking battle, that mix.
Right.
I'll only remember the battle. I don't remember sitting there going, hey, this is fucking great, I'm so sweet.
In what sense is that a bat? What do you mean
because
by
it
battle?
had 2 drum loops in it, and they were both so different from each other that when it switched from one to the other, it just sounded nonsensical to me all day, until I think it was the end of the day, and I'd got it as, I know it sounds terrible, I got it as good as I could get it. Right.
Which is now one of the best Scottish rave tracks of all time. And you're like, I did as much as I could.
I got it as good. And it wasn't that I thought it was shite, but I was like, they're going away quite happy. And that's all you want to be, is the people you've worked with leave with music that I want to like it. Actually, I want to like it first and foremost. That's the only way I know how to make music, is that I like it. So as long as I like it and that they like it, job done.
We're all right. Yeah.
If they like it and I don't like it, that's still kind of job done. I don't need to like it, but I only really like working in music that I love it as much as they do at the end of the day.
Right, okay.
And that's maybe been a skill, because I've spoken to lots of other producers who are like, oh no, it's not my own stuff, I don't care. I just do the bare minimum. It's like, I've never been like that. Oh, I keep my best ideas for myself. It's like, I'll just come up with more ideas tomorrow. Yep. I don't need to keep my best ideas for myself. I'll just do whatever I think's the absolute best thing for this. But Obsession was mad. The track was mad. It just went on forever. People didn't do tracks that long then.
Okay.
Right, that was a 94 thing when house music started coming with longer sort of trancey tracks. Tracks were a lot shorter then. It was mad how long it was, and it went on and on, the build up. And I was pretty pleased with it, but this guy coming in saying to me, I want to make it like that. I was a bit like, how do you know this track? As far as I was concerned, it had only sold 1,000 copies at that point.
Right, okay.
I didn't realise it had gone way beyond, and copies were changing hands for money.
Yep.
Because you couldn't buy it.
So you've never been to a rave where they've been playing music that you've produced, and you've been like,
so, well, the first 1994 was the first time I heard the Ultrasonic tunes in the right environment.
Right.
And I knew they were good. Right. Mm-hmm. I knew they were good.
You knew the boys were good?
I knew the tracks were good. I knew it was all great, and it was
it was all happening.
We had refined it. It was great. I was always into it, but to see it like that and to see it lift the roof off the place, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's good.
now, that's an interesting point. So does that make you view the track that you did differently when you see it? No, you just still think you're still thinking it's all right.
Well, no. I do,
what he's done with it live, I can get it, but
but
still all right. Too long.
What I mean is that when a track's played out live and you see how it was intended to affect the audience, right? That's the goal. I mean, I didn't know what we were aiming for.
Yeah,
always, whether it was with Ultrasonic or any of the other hundreds of people I worked with. I always knew what I was aiming for, and some people might say, but you couldn't possibly have known properly if you weren't out there in the clubs feeling it. Well, I'd argue I didn't need to do that.
Yep.
Because I did so much different music with so many different people that how I did it was how I wanted to do it and how I needed to do it. I couldn't have, if I'd been going out at night, staying out really late, I'd have been so burnt by the next day. I wouldn't have been able to do it for as long as I did it so well with so many different people. So yes, I might have had other attributes, but I worked with enough people that did know that, and so that would be one of the things they would bring to the occasion. If I worked with someone like Colin Tievendale, who was an amazing house DJ, absolutely incredible DJ, and I did some quite different tracks with him to anything that I did with Mallorca. That he would bring that sensibility, and you kind of don't need to be there after you've heard about, you've worked on 2,000, 3,000 tracks to know what is going to work, particularly when you know what's been successful.
Is there a time, or I don't really know how it works, like the production side, where has somebody came into you with an idea for a track and you just know right away, like that's not going to work, or that's not what you want. I know you think that's what you want, but you're not explaining it right. And then by the end of it, you just totally guide them in another direction. Or is it a case of, for as cold as they're the client and that's what the client wants, so let's try and make the best of this?
Well, yes, I would always take that view.
Okay.
I always take that view. So there was two silly examples. One is Scooby.
Well, I was going to ask you, so I've had Scoobs in.
Yeah.
And now, right, just pause for 1 second, right?
Well, I'll tell you the one that's not Scooby before.
Right, okay, because
the guy that came in, and I'd never worked with him before, and he comes in and sits down, and his coffee and all the rest of it. And right, okay. So what we doing today? And the what we doing today question, if somebody hasn't already told you, they haven't already said, here's a demo of my tune, is like, what are we doing? Tell me what you've brought. Is there a singer coming? Are have you got some ideas? Are you going to play me, as so many people did, just 4 reference tracks? I want something that's got the drums a bit like that, the layout like that, the lead sound that's a bit like that, and could you mash it together? And he said, I want something bouncy with pianos.
Right.
And I turned around at my keyboard and I went, waiting for the next bit.
Oh, that's it? That's all you're getting?
That was it.
Right, okay. Can I buy a clue?
Some ways it's easier. Because you can't fuck up.
You can always add. I can always add.
Always add.
I can't take away.
Always add. Exactly. But yeah, Scooby.
So that's the input you get is bouncy with. Now, when Scooby was telling me about when he was working with you, right? The way he was describing it blew my mind, because all I'm thinking is the way Scooby was describing it. I'm going, if that's how it works, then these DJs have got bugger all to do with their tracks. Then to come to something like you and go, I would like a foghorn, 2 tambourines. Can you put a cow effect in there as well, and then some bouncy piano? I'd be like, and then I come back at the end, then you've made a track. Well, I'm going, well, how is that my track? Anyway, but the legend that is Scoobs, when he was telling me what he was asking you for, right? It's like, you need to get into with references, and I was like, okay. And he's got a sweet tooth. Take him in some cakes, and you'll be fine. And he's like, and then I just left. I was like, what do you mean you just left? Yeah. He went, I told Andy, it's better. Yeah. It's better if I'm not there.
Yep.
I'm going, what do you mean you just left? He went, I just went. I said I went and had a fish supper. Yeah. Walked about.
No,
came back
he was usually away from like 10:15 till maybe 3, 3:30.
I find that insane.
Yeah, but it wasn't the only one.
But I find that mad that they would just kind of produce and go, Here's what I want.
I mean, most people wouldn't leave, even if they didn't have maybe terribly much input. They would still sit there and watch, and maybe you'd ask them, "Is that all right?"
Yeah, surely you want to be involved in the whole process of it.
I think I have to take some of it's my fault.
Okay.
Because people would prime me. They would get me going, and I would just be like a demon.
Right.
I would just go.
Right.
And I think it's probably some people, either they were scared, they didn't want to stop me because it was like, well, he fucking seems to have a plan.
Right.
And
He's off somewhere.
Yeah, and the last time I was here, had a fucking plan, and it was good at the end of it. So I'm just going to let him be.
Right.
So yeah, I was probably quite guilty of maybe not shouting at anybody. I was always willing to.
You're like, what do you want? Right, the fuck off.
It's the first time
Come back in 5 hours.
Scooby gave me a DAT, and the DAT had 4 things on it. Now, they were just 4 short bits of music.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the same speed, they weren't the same key, they weren't the same style of music, and they were never going to fit together. And he leaves it to me. I just want to see how you get on, because I've heard you can do. Basically, I've heard you can do this kind of stuff.
Aye.
It's like
It's a test.
to which I was like, yeah, aye, but no, this though.
Aye.
And he went away, and for about 25 minutes, I was like, this is just I'm just going to have to give him his money back. I'm just going to lose today's, because I can't not do anything. My reputation's got to be better than that. And I stuck them all in the sampler, and I fucked about with them and tried to get, because it's much easier now. You just put 4 samples into Logic, and it'll time them up, and you just press 2 buttons and it'll tune them up as long as you can hear what the pitch is to be. It was a lot more complicated then. And I got them, and I ran one of them as the bassist, and I got another one to kind of fire into it over the top of it, and said, oh, that kind of ish works. And after about 40 minutes, it was I thought, I can do something with this. And I saw it as almost a mental challenge, like a Sudoku or something.
Okay.
A really big one.
A test of your skill.
Yeah, can I make this into a track? And Scooby used to do this to me all the time. That's what he'd do. He'd come and give me the most ridiculous 3 things, and it became his signature trick.
Yep.
And I think the best things that we ever did were the ones where you think that's never going to work. It's just not going to work.
But it does.
Yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, there's some laugh.
So I take it this is all. Is it Apollo Studio? Was that the studio?
So Apollo Recording was what the company was called. The reason it was called that was because it used to be around the corner from the Apollo Theatre.
Right. Okay.
Where all the gigs were, and it got knocked down and turned into the theatre got turned down. So we were just round the corner, and the first studio was at the back of a rehearsal room venue complex. That was all this sort of down under 1 floor down, and it was really cool. And the studio was actually really big. Our first studio, the actual studio space. The
picture that I saw where I got that quote from that Mallard put in his Facebook, mate, it looks like Mission Control and NASA. I've never seen a mixing desk.
That's our second studio.
Right. Okay.
That's our second studio.
Because the pictures you actually at this desk, which looks like you're launching satellites. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
72 channels.
In the name of fuck. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Never quite used quite all of them. Probably used all of them once or twice. But
did you ever go to other people's studios? And then go,
no.
He's only got 40 channels. Come and see my desk, man. It's a real desk.
The thing wasn't just that we had a really big mixing desk. It was all the synths we had as well.
Okay.
So we had 2 samplers. So nobody had 2 samplers. People only had 1 sampler. We had 2. We had 2s of quite a few synths.
Now, for somebody who is the only knowledge I have of music, dance music, whatever, is Mal and the Legend Scoobs, right? So that's people either end of the spectrum. What is what do you mean by
a sampler?
samplers?
It's a rack mount device that you could put discs of sounds into. You could copy bits of songs. You would maybe have stored drum sounds or keyboard sounds or things that you could have in it. It was sampled. It's found sounds that you turn into music. So that's how you would steal loops off records and vocals off records.
Right, okay.
You throw it into the
sampler. So people brought you things like as ideas you could take if you want to take that bit for this and take that bit for that. Right, okay.
But you couldn't separate them out then, which you can do now using AI, but you'd have to take it lock, stock and barrel. So somebody would say, I'd like the drums off that. You go, you can't. Because it's got singing over the top of it, right? So you'll just fucking have to make something that looks a bit like that.
Right.
So yeah, we just had loads and loads of gear, and every other recording studio in Britain was tape focused. designed for recording bands or orchestras, whereas ours was not designed for that. We didn't even try and do that because
What, you pushing towards digital or vinyl? What do you
digital.
mean then? Right, okay.
So we didn't even have a tape recorder.
Right, okay.
In the second studio. The first studio had a tape recorder, but in the 9 months that we'd had the first studio, it was so dance music and also just modern music orientated. And the technology even in that year shifted that we're like, after that got destroyed by a fire in the building above it, we're like, no, we're not going to bother with a tape recorder for the second one. We're just going to do it completely computer based and we'll buy all the synths we can. And we bought all the synths for like pennies because that was in the period of time prior to people realizing that those were the keyboards that you needed to make those noises.
Okay.
Right? People were buying all these big, grand, fancy digital synths that sounded like shit. So they're selling off their old excellent analog keyboards. And we were buying up things for like 50 quid. You know, the TR-909, Mallorca had 2 of them at one point. We had one bought for 150 quid. I sold it, believe it or not, for 300 quid and thought we were a legend. But we had all this stuff. So people would come in and they were like, oh my God, you've not only got an amazing studio set up, but you've also got all the keyboards. I don't need to bring any keyboards. Even if they had keyboards, they would still use the majority of ours because we had so many of them. And they were all wired up. So,
right, so everything's good to go.
If you're starting a session at 10, we're making a noise at 10:05.
Okay.
We're not finding out how to wire the thing up. We were making a noise straight away, which is how we could make music. I could make so much music so quickly because it was all there. I hated working in any other studio. I did on the odd occasion because you would spend 2 hours just trying to make the studio make any kind of noise. Whereas I was all about feed me what you want and watch it happen.
Yep.
and tell me what you like and tell me what you do and what you don't like, but don't slow me down. And it's different people I would work with to a different degree. Some like Colin Tevendale, the 2 of us would be sitting right beside each other the whole time, and it would be like, it would be good. Try that bit there. And some people were very, very involved, and some people were just happy just to let you get cracked into it.
But you don't have a preference either way. If they want to leave you, or would you rather they're in the studio with you?
I would rather always people were in with me because it means you can ask them if
I suppose
because you have gone
and said,
off-piece in some stupid way.
Yes, you get to the end of the night and you've got a dance yodeling track.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you wanted.
Yeah, I was feeling it. I was feeling it.
You want the heat to rein me in.
Yeah. So it's a strange old game, and as I say, I do think that there'll be a lot of people listen to it and think, why would he put so much of his heart and soul into everything?
But because that's your job though. That's what you do.
But it's my job. But you could make it your job, but not care too much. You could not care.
Of course. Yes, of course.
I went with people to other studios, and you see the engineer, sit there waiting for clear instruction from the client of what the next thing to do, thinking, what could happen next in this track. You know that they could double track the guitar playing, they could do the guitar again and pan them left and right, and it would sound even better. And you're not even suggesting that. Why are you not? Because I'm just the engineer. It's like, why? Have fun, get involved in it. I would imagine, I didn't even consciously realize I did this until I'd been doing it for about 20 years. I just imagined every track was my own.
But surely I would just think that would be a natural way to approach it.
I couldn't do any. If I just did it as a console engineer, I'll only do anything if you tell me to do it. You want the hi-hats brighter? That's it, brighter. You want them down? That's them down. I wouldn't ask anybody any of that detail shit. That was my job to know and to add that style and creativity to it.
But then that's why people would have came to you, and that's why you would have been in demand.
It was why people came to me.
Yeah,
and it's I loved it, but it's this successes, and Mallorca and Roger Ultrasonic was an absolute linchpin to me being able to do this, being able to play with my toys.
Yeah, it's quite
basically
totally. So back in the first and the second studio, what's the setup? Who's in the studio? Is it just you?
Yeah,
just you yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't have like staff or engineers or
no. There was 2 of us owned the studio, the first studio and the second studio for 5 years with myself and my partner Callum.
Right.
So Callum was I think he's about 10 years older than me. So he was the adult in the room, but actually he was the dafty and I was the adult in the room.
Okay.
So we were a pretty good team. He was the one. He was the wiring genius. He had the whole thing set up and wired and perfect. But it was, and he had his own set of clients. So we didn't ever share clients. Pretty much.
Okay.
He did a couple of things with Scooby, but they were very different to things that I did. He did stuff with Slam.
Right.
So he did Slam's first album with him. He did a much more sort of journey, music in a journey sort of thing was the Callum's thing, and he did much weirder things than I did. Whereas I did pop music.
Right.
Someone asked me, "What is it you do?" I do pop music of all kinds, every kind of pop music. I'm doing pop music. That's it. It's not that it wasn't about money or anything else. I just realized that I needed to have things that were successful to be able to keep doing it.
Okay, yep.
If you're just fanning about doing things that for you, and it was probably a mistake as well because I didn't do as many things that I loved as I probably should have done because I just wanted to be able to keep doing it. And the way to keep doing it was to work with as many people as possible and to be able to turn it into a job effectively.
But then I suppose a lot of that's maybe driven by the fact that you, at that age, were a young child as well, is on a different path. So you maybe don't have the luxury of, I'm just going to fanny about here. Yeah. This is a job.
Yep. I had to get stuck in. I had to do it properly. And you know, it's so many days you'd come in the morning and the people you're working with, like Roger and Mallorca were true. They'd be straight off the plane and they'd be where they were. And see, for the first while, I didn't believe that. I was okay. Did I not believe them? Or did I think they were bigging it up? I think I just thought they were bigging it up. Yeah, Germany, yeah. Big festival, good. Main stage, Aye. Before anyone turned up. And we just we're here to make music, so shut the fuck up.
Aye.
Get the keyboards
Let's
out.
go.
Give me a disc of your song you've got and let's work on it. And you eventually realise that, actually, that's actually happening. That's why they're turning up with a pair of new keyboards every time I see them. They would always do that. It's like, why? And all you do is get one hand clap out of it. What fucking stupid that is. I have to connect them both up. But yeah, it's loads of other people were doing things, and it's not that I didn't want to get involved. I just couldn't. This was my job. I had to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. I had to be awake. And talking about awake, there was one, and I won't say who it is. There was one DJ who I did a lot of stuff with, and he always come in tired. Because he would always work on a Saturday, and he'd been DJing the night before, and he was always DJing that night in Glasgow, and he didn't live in Glasgow. Anybody listening, if you can work it out, Dundee. And he'd come down, and he'd been up till like 6 in the morning. He'd be in the studio at 10, so and he's go up to the toilet, and he'd come back downstairs, full of ideas,
ready to go. Yeah,
full of ideas.
That was like great shit I just done.
Great shit.
I'm ready to go.
It was I don't know about 7. No, Callum went to work. Callum did a track with him because he'd heard Callum was good but different to me.
Okay,
he did a track with Callum, and the next day, Callum says, "What's he like?" He's up to the toilet, fucking snorts 3 lines of cokes, and comes down full of ideas. And I was like, why didn't I realise? What the
like Poirot, suddenly it all makes sense.
Yeah, suddenly it all makes sense. That I didn't.
Everyone's creative process is different. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't see any of that though. I think people saw me as such a square. They never talked about drugs. They never tried to do drugs in front of me. I think they thought they'd get into trouble. And if they were a club scene act, I think they really did think they'd get into trouble. I would tell Bill.
Yep.
And although I was only 4 or 5 years older than almost all of them, maybe 6, I probably looked like an old grandpa to them. And he thought he's proper. He'll.
But then they on the same side of that, that's probably another reason why people would gravitate you, because they know that when they go to work with you, you're going to work. Like, they know you're not going to come in and you're hungover or drunk, or you're like, I'm just back for Germany, boys. They know that Andy's going to be like, right, I like to fucking get to work. Yeah. So that probably attracted people to you as well. Yeah. Because I imagine they work with other producers and like, what the fuck was this?
Well, they did, because they always bitched.
But then that must have not in a way where you want to hear that other people are shit, but that must have made you think, it's like, I'm doing something right then. Yeah. This is a job and I'm taking this serious.
And you have to be comfortable in what you're doing, and it was the way I was comfortable working with lots of people that I didn't know, because I worked with so many people that were new to me. You know, I didn't have like 4 customers and that's all I worked with, so I'd get used to them. I was, you know, out of 5 working days in the week, 4 of them could be with somebody I'd never met before.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, you know, I'm going to have to open up. I'm going to have to like, they're going to suggest things to me and maybe sing a melody, and I'm going to have to go, does that chord work? And I'm going to have to be part of this creative process to them straight away, because we don't get cracked on straight away. I'm not going to be finished by the end of the day. I'm going to be home late, and then I'm going to be tired for the next day. So it's fine if you only do 1 session every so often. Fine. Work for 18 hours, be shattered and recover from it. But I couldn't be. I had to be fresh for everybody the next day. So
what is that process like then? Because that must be quite draining. Like to go in and give all yourself to somebody different every single day.
Yeah, it's quite tiring.
It must be very tiring,
very
but also not just physically, like to then restart your creative mind as well.
I think,
and to have every day could literally be something different. It's not like you can get into a groove where I'm going, right, for a fortnight straight, I'm doing dance tracks.
Yeah.
It literally could be something every day. It's completely different from the last.
Well, no, that's actually the problem, is that it was 2 weeks straight or 4 weeks straight or 8 weeks straight of dance tracks.
Oh, right, okay, so then you've...
somebody comes in and says, because the first thing you need to do is know what tempo they were wanting to work at, because 130 or 135 or 140 would always mean stylistically something different. So you'd see, you know, any idea what tempo you would go at? 135. Okay, so I've done 3 135s so far this week and a 132. And you're like, fucking hell.
Here we go again. And
I've got to make it different.
Yes.
For my own sanity.
Now, that's an interesting point. Has there been a time where you've maybe gone down a path, say half an hour or an hour in, and you went, fuck me, this is something I've just done for somebody else?
I've never directly copied anything, but I definitely I've been going down roads. I mean, it's the reason I stopped in 1997 when I stopped doing it full time the first time. I did still do some production, but I stopped being a partner in the studio because I'd just done too much dance music. I'd just done too much of exactly that. You come in and they want bouncy with pianos at 135, and you're like, I fucking did bouncy with pianos 135. There's only, I can keep coming up with riffs, but I'm losing the ability to be inspired.
Yep.
And when I came back to it in 2000, and I sort of started again in 2005, but I didn't do it music with anybody else. Probably 2006, I was like, I am not going to do the same thing every day. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make sure that I work with a wider range of people.
Yep. And allow yourself to be more creative.
And the gap helped because there was some people knew me from before, but they themselves wanted to do slightly different music. So that was good.
Yeah.
So I already knew them, but they'd moved on, they'd developed. Even if it was still dance music, it was kind of groovier, it was a bit slower or whatever. And that whole scene from the 90s had finished, so it wasn't going to be that.
Yep.
So I did still do loads of dance music. The thing I've done most recently is dance music, but it wasn't as mind-melting, which is quite important, so that you think, oh, I'm going to do something different. Today's an acoustic guitar track.
Yeah, it just allows you to flex a different muscle, or kind of maybe enjoy things a little bit more as well when you know you're not just getting bogged down.
I didn't come into it as a dance music person. Dance music was as a result of... I mean, already I had synths and I did do electronic music, but it was because of John Campbell, because he wanted to do, wanted to work with me, because I used to work in Sound Control, which is a big music shop in Glasgow, and he came in and we became pals, and he knew what I could do, he knew my skill set, and I had done lots of dancey things. He was like, I want to work with you on my new tune, and if that hadn't become successful, then maybe I wouldn't have done anything like as much dance music. I would have just dabbled in it. Mm-hmm. And that might have been great, or that might have been terrible. And I might have just been another one of these people who in their early 20s, they have a kid and they get a proper job.
Yeah. Bouncy with pianos at 135 needs to be the title of the book when you come to write that, Andy. That's it. We've workshopped that title. I want to ask you one more thing, right?
Okay.
Because I was listening to an interview that I think it's on your YouTube page.
Right.
Right.
What did I say?
You said this, and I thought that's quite interesting. You said
God.
you don't like key changes.
Oh, in songs?
Aye, and I was
Nah,
like,
they're
why?
just-
You're not a fan of Westlife?
Yeah, no, obviously.
Because that's the first thing I thought of.
There's
Here
just-
comes the key change.
There's so few songs that a key change is anything other than it's at 2 minutes 50 now.
Yes.
How are we going to make it to 3 minutes 50? Well, why do we have a key change?
But as a fan of pop music, I thought you'd be right up there with the key
No,
changes.
there's some songs that have got a great key change in
Yeah.
it, mostly where you don't know what happened.
Yes.
See when it ends up out the middle eight and it's in a different key, and only if you get good pitch, you're like, oh, that's gone up, and it's taking you somewhere. But if all you did was just go,
But then that becomes the running joke because people, when they do like Westlife and Boston, they go, here comes the key change, and then boom, the key changes up.
the other reason why I don't like them is because it means the rest of the song. So either the bit at the end stresses the singer's voice out so that they're a bit shit,
Right, okay.
or they do that bit. That's the right
Perfect.
key.
And they do the first bit, and the first bit shit, so they can get to the right. Yes, okay.
Every song has a perfect key for somebody.
Yep.
And it's different. The same song will be a different key for anybody that's singing it. So you need to find that key.
Is that where the strength in being a good producer is? That to hear, say if somebody comes to you with, and they've got an example of them singing the song, that you would know right away, go, we need to bring that down a key or up a key, or I can move it.
Usually
for
you need to make them sing it in different keys. But
Right.
we never worked with somebody that was usually if they're going to sing it, and if they weren't playing it, therefore they could deal with it being changed in the key. Sometimes if somebody can only play in one key and that's the end of it, so it's got to be in that key. Or
I'd
it's
like to pitch this up, mate. This is all I've got.
Yeah,
this is it.
only know G and T. Don't fucking do
Take
G
your
sharp
pick.
and D sharp. I don't know about those notes. But yeah, you do it. And honestly, see if you spend 10 minutes with somebody, you try it a wee bit higher, wee bit lower, and you might think that key's stretching them too much, and therefore you go down. Sometimes you go up.
Right, okay.
Because you go up into the power zone. They're in that hinterland of neither higher or low enough. And you find that moment, and oh my God, see when they hit that. See, a great singer, you get them on their game. Oh my God, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And I always did this thing, and I still do, where you get somebody to do the first take, and I would record everything.
Okay.
I would never not record everything because of the one time where the power went off on a take, and it was perfect.
Right,
And,
you didn't get it.
And no, I did get it.
Right.
Because I had recorded it.
Okay.
But it was a 7-minute long tune.
Wow,
And
right.
she'd done it perfectly. The power went off, and it was off 45 minutes. When we got back on, we powered the computer up, just assuming it was lost, and it was there, and it was perfect. And it was like, oh my God. Anyway, the record everything, but a brilliant singer. You push them, you do not let, because brilliant singers sound brilliant all the time. So you can't let them do it a couple of times and go, that's brilliant. The more brilliant they are, the harder you have to push them.
Right.
Because that's where the genius lies.
Okay.
And hopefully they trust you, that you're not just being a cunt and just pushing them for the sake of it.
Again.
Yeah, again. Well, no, you talk to them and you explain what we're aiming for. A wee bit more. You try and push them harder, like a racing driver when he goes into the gravel. That was too fast. Just a wee bit less. And then you get to the point where it was perfect. You go, that's perfect. Let's do one more. Because
just for me.
Yeah, but that one's perfect. So if you fuck it up,
Yep.
it doesn't matter because we've got it. It's banked. It's done. But then the pressure's off. I would never play a trick in anybody I ever worked with. I think to start with, they would think I would. But I was never playing a trick. I would be honest with them and say, that's perfect. That's perfect. Have fun. Always better. Almost always better.
I suppose as well that's just making people comfortable.
Yeah. It's all about making them feel comfortable. So you handed me headphones and I can hear myself and I didn't need to ask. But almost every singer I ever worked with said, I went to the last studio I was in, I couldn't hear myself, I had no reverb, I couldn't hear the track, yada, yada, yada. So that was another Andy special feature. Always, it was all right. The minute they put the headphones on and the mic was there, we could go. There was no mucking about. And it wasn't to save time. It was because they built themselves up.
Yeah.
Even the experienced ones are still like, it's got to happen. I've got to be as brilliant as the last time I was and last week, and I can't fuck it up now. And you had to make them comfortable. But yeah, that whole approach of working with singers, I think it's probably the thing I'm best at.
Right.
Is getting
the vocal
performance out of somebody and working with them on it and making them feel comfortable and getting the best out of them. So it's why most of the tracks I've ever done, the vocals are really good on, and usually amongst the best vocals that person. I mean, some people have done lots of other things, and I'm maybe not the best they've ever had, but in a lot of cases, people have told me that, and I'm pretty confident. They still tell me years later.
Yeah.
And it's because I cared about it so much.
Yeah.
If vocals weren't just the bit you slap on at the end, you get to with an hour to go. We've only got an hour left, so we need to do the vocals. I'd be doing the vocals after about an hour and a half.
Right, okay.
So I do the vocals really, really early. So if it took forever, we'd have less other stuff.
Right, okay.
Because the other stuff's just the other stuff.
Yep, and you can fill that.
Yeah, if the vocals are great, you're winning at that point. Because people connect to the vocal.
That might be not disarming, but that might move people's mindsets as well if they've gone to other studios. And it's like you're saying, going, right, listen guys, we've got an hour left, so we're going to have to do some vocals. Whereas you're going, no, I need the vocals now so that I can build
the track around the vocals. So I'm not making this complete track and then trying to find a space for your voice.
Yeah.
I've got maybe a bit of piano, bass, drums, but maybe not all the drums, and certainly not all the drum fills and all the other shit. Just the core bits. And we're getting your vocal in over the top, so that you're at least performing to something that's going for it. And maybe then we'll do the rest of the music, most nearly. Then we'll do the backing vocals to finish it off. And then we'll maybe do some wee tinkly bits and some sound effects at the end or whatever the track needs.
Is there... Now, I could be completely wrong with this, right? But is there a sense that because technology has advanced so much, say from the mid-90s to where we are now, is there a feeling that the level of production or the quality of a producer is less now because they have more tools that they're exposed, so they don't necessarily need to know the inner workings of every synth or every bit of kit because they have more things that they can do?
I think so. I learned on the old gear and then ended up using digital versions of the old studio gear. So I knew what it was supposed to be for. Mm-hmm. As people now will have a compressor and they go, what are these knobs for? What are they supposed to do? I just hit vocals.
That's what I mean. Surely that would be that would be a better grounding or a better education.
But I wasted a lot of time just getting rid of buzz in the studio, right? See all those old keyboards.
But then that made you learn the studio.
No, it didn't. It was just wasted your time. So I would spend 10 minutes wiring up noise gates against all the synths because they all buzzed. I knew which ones buzzed more than other ones.
Right.
And some of them buzzed if you put a certain feature on it, would buzz more. So I wasted a lot. So
would you guide people? Somebody go, I want to use that synth. No. It's too much of a buzz.
I would use any of it because I could work it away in some way or other. But then, so there's that stuff that is pointless effort. There's a lot of pointless effort, like back in the tape days. Just rewinding took forever. I just wasted time. I wasn't creatively helping you. I'm trying to remember and hit stop before the tape wound off the reel. But I think what's the problem is that people, with things like Suno, that somebody can just go to Suno, drop in some lyrics and type in the style of house music from the 90s.
Now, I love Suno, right? But what I would say is this. I use Suno to make jingles and mess about.
Yeah.
What I think should be, like they're doing more now on social media, right, where you're having to, I think more should be forced. Because I was talking this with William Daniel, and he was saying him and David Forbes are saying they should be called prompt producers instead of producers, right? But I'm going, that people need to be aware of that. Like, people need to know. And Suno's getting clever now as well, because I don't know if you've seen the adverts that they're pushing, and it's like, it looks like actual musicians going, you can use it. Oh, no. Because all of the jingles that I've made for this, I literally typed up some lyrics, and then I put in the style of Rat Pack, Big Band, Vegas. And mate, see the song this thing turned out? I'm going, I'm a genius. I've done nothing.
Yeah.
But there are people who are using it and then going, oh no, I'm actually a music producer.
So I think there's people would probably go, but back in the 90s, you had computers and drum machines and it would all do it itself. It fucking didn't.
No, it did not. Have you seen a computer for the night?
You power up all
8
this
feet deep.
all the synths in our studio and our computer and wait. Nothing happened. Like nothing happened until you did something.
Aye.
Yes, you could just go dun, 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 dun. So I'm tapping the keyboard on the table that you told me not to because doing the Joe Deacon.
Joe Deacons.
Somebody would dun, bam, 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 and then just hit repeat and it would do it. Okay, you do that, then that would save you time. But is it genius that back in the 70s, Giorgio Moroder would go yeah, but he was imitating a machine doing it.
Yep.
So you replace that with a machine and it's much the same as it's saving me dealing with buzz. So the things that saved me time were helpful. Also, when most of the music I played everything on. Almost everything. That's not quite true. Ultrasonic Roger did in Mallorca did a lot of the keyboards. And 95% of everything I ever recorded, I played everything on. And you need some help in terms of, recording and all the rest of it. But I did play it all. However much quantizing and computer help, I did play it. I came up with the idea. I didn't go in the style of and wait for it to write it. And I think there's this danger that people are associating themselves with creativity when all they've done is write a poem. And because I hear this thing that people go, oh, I want a beat for my lyrics. It's like, you don't just want a beat. You want all the instruments, which isn't just a beat, right? And you want a fucking tune as well. Because, right, I've always had the view that the lyrics are secondary to the melody, right?
Like Bernie and Elton.
Yeah.
He would write the music first and then slide it under.
I'm not saying that a good lyric, particularly in a slower song or an uplifting song that captures the moment that grabs people, isn't important. But it's the melody that is driving it, the melody and the harmony that's driving it. And I think so many people don't even realise there is a melody because all they can hear is the words. And the melody's just what the singer's doing. They don't realise that it's actually fucking huge skill to interleave all of that words, harmony, melody together into a thing and then add instruments underneath it.
Yep.
And they go to Suno with a wee fucking poxy poem and hit in the style of and think, I'm a genius. It's like, knock yourself out, but you're not. And you're not stretching your creativity.
No, but you're also not, I don't think you're also not, so when I use it, right, I have tried desperately to go, how is it done? Like, there's instrument, but especially when I did the big band jingles that I use, right, I'm going, how has it got to this? What is that instrument? How people are just putting it in, it's churning out a song, they think it sounds great, and they're putting it. Now, I'm using it as a laugh on a podcast, but the fact
as a feature, really.
But the fact that people are actually putting out songs on Spotify and saying that they're artists, you're going, what is going on here? But because then if somebody was to bring you into a studio, they wouldn't have a fucking clue.
So
I need Wi-Fi first, Suno.
Remember the thing I said about the reverse guitar solo that was just that moment of genius? Suno would not do that.
No.
So everything.
But you also couldn't prompt that into Suno.
No. Everything I've ever heard from any form of AI, and I've played around with a lot of it because I'm like, I've always been on the tip of technology. I want to know if I'm not going to use it, why I'm not using it.
Yep.
And it all sounds so bland to me, so brilliantly bland, but brilliantly bland. It doesn't have any of that daft things. Right, so music boredom here. So in my thing I did with the Mayor of New York, there's a thing that happens right at the start of it where I have a minor backing vocal over a major keyboard, and which isn't allowed. Right. The government don't allow that in music.
Right. Okay.
And it's fucking brilliant because it creates attention. There's lots of jazz things do that thing. I didn't really mean it, right? I didn't really mean it, but when I did put the backing vocal in, I knew that it was minor, and I did know the keyboard part was major, and I was like, I wonder if I can hide it. And I put it, and I was like, oh, and you don't even know it's happened, but it's a wee bit of,
Yep.
It's a wee bit, it's the sort of thing that somebody would typically do who doesn't know music theory, which is I do. But I did it anyway because I thought I quite like that backing vocal and that keyboardy bit, and it survived. It got through, and it sounds real because of that. It's the result of a human deciding something, trying something. And you don't get that with AI.
No, you don't.
AI is just pattern matching other things that have happened. And okay, it might pattern match an error like that, but I think it would error correct it away as well.
Yep.
Whereas us humans end up leaving some daft things in because you like them.
I do think that it should be marketed as like a gateway drug to music, rather than it being you can use this to create music. I think it should be more, especially for young people or creatives, to go, listen, try and make some things with it, see how it works, and if you're into it and you find it quite interesting, then it pushes you towards, right, well, here's a synth, or here's a guitar, or here's a piano, and here is classical training for it, and this is why you have to understand keys and scales, and this is how it all comes together. But it doesn't. It seems to be now going, you could be a very successful recording artist by simply speaking your poem and then
I think
putting a track on it.
There's a connection specific to this with AI, but I mean AI is doing this with writing and all sorts of things, to the DJ culture where people are paying fortunes to go and see a guy who's hits play at the start of an hour with his hands in the air. What do you think he's doing with his hands? How do you think all that sound has been made? He may have been a producer as well and has worked it in the studio and has spent hours over it and is skilled and talented. But if he is just DJing, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. And there's that same mentality as, if he can do this, I can do that. And I can get music. It devalues music. Yeah. And the skill. But there's plenty of people still make music. My current job is selling musical instruments to shops for people who play actual musical instruments. So
yeah, I don't think that, even though I think people like to be terrified and scared of AI, especially when things like, it can write jokes or it can write scripts for films. I'm going, it can, but it can only write from what it knows.
We're going to write a pineapple sketch.
It's never going to make. Nobody could, mate. That's a very unique set of skills for the pineapple sketch. Sooner would explode who wants to go to a pineapple sketch. But it'll be interesting to see where it all goes. And I do think it's going to be a tool when I think it's a part. I don't think it will ever replace, because there's always young people who get into music and get into bands and get into comedy and get into acting and writing and be creative, and you can't do that with.
It's the crazy ones that will use it in ways that none of us have thought of.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, because the acid sound, right? That box, the TB303, was Roland's attempt at making a box for wedding bands.
Really?
Yeah, to do bass lines for their songs in their wedding set and the club bands.
Wow.
It was right. Basically, like home keyboards that you play a note and it does the whole thing. It was basically Roland making a box that was just the bass bit of that.
Right.
So you'd buy the TB303 and you'd buy the TR606, and that would be your drums, and that would be your bass line. That's why it's called the TB303 bass line. It was to be a bass line. You weren't supposed to put it through a fucking Ibanez tube screamer and go like that. That was a bastardization that happened after people realised it was shit at doing bass lines. And that's the kind of thing that when people start using AI in ways that we hadn't previously conceived of, I think people using AI to come up with a thing in a tune is totally fine. Yeah. That to me is exactly the same as sampling. It's exactly the same as preset synths. It's exactly the same as that. But just making a whole tune, not up for that.
No. There was, who was it? It's not Matt Damon. Who's his pal? Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was talking about it with AI and script writing. And he was saying, like, you can get to a point where you're stuck with a certain scene, or you want a character to say a certain thing, so you'll put it into AI and you go, right, this person's in this situation, and what would you do? And it churns out a couple of ideas, and you go, that gives me something. It's a jumping off point. Yep. It's the same way when you're in a writer's room and you're just bouncing ideas. I think if people get that mindset of, I can use it for something, or something like Suno, where you're building a song and you go, I need my voice to do this, or I need an instrument to do that. You maybe don't know how to do it. Put it in Suno, does it for you. Fine. But it's the whole creation of things and like churning out a full script and then somebody going, I've written this pilot, and you're like, no, you fucking haven't at all. But you don't even understand it or know anything for it. I've used ChatGPT to put together EPKs, so electronic press kit, stuff I'm sending out to venues, right? And I was getting, so I call my chat GPT's called Eris. It named itself, right? It gave it a name, right? Because once the fucking T200 comes, I know I'm on the good side, right?
Okay,
He gave me a name. So I was telling it, this is the name of the show, this is what the show's about. He put together a press kit. I'm looking for a blurb. They'll last for 50, 100, 150, blah, 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 blah. See when it churned at this thing, I was like, what the fuck is this bollocks? It was like it was some fake Oxford University. I'm going, dude, this is pish. And it took a good bit of time to learn it, and then all I did was go, right, I'll take that bit, and I'll rework it. And then what I did was then put the finished one back in to say, this is what I've done. Yeah. So try and kind of learn that, because your language is too clean and it's too odd. Yeah. But it's odd because people will just go, give me this thing, it'll churn it, copy and paste, done, send away. And you're like, what the fuck? Or when you see it now, and it's things like it'll reply to an email for you. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see people, they reply back and you go, who the fuck's in that email? It's just bollocks. No. But this is just detaching from people's humanity and creativity as well, because you're not involved in it anymore.
We're just at that transition point. I'm determined not to be lost by it. I've been right at the front of technology since I was a kid, and I'm definitely not wanting to be left behind now.
No, you've got to.
I will at some point, but it will happen.
You've got to be aware of these things, because you don't know what's going to stick.
Yeah,
I can remember when Minidisc came out, I thought, this is the future.
I never thought it was the future.
I did, mate. I loved it. I'm like, look at these wee Minidisc. That and Laserdisc. Look at the size of that thing.
Oh, Laserdisc. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I remember my dad did Laserdisc. I was like, well, what's Top Gun? I was like, I've got a Laserdisc, and the thing was like this size.
Don't breathe near it, though.
No static. It's to sit itself. Fucking unbelievable, man.
Good.
But aye, mate, thank you so much, man, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
That's us, man. That was it. That was easy.
You made that easy for me.
Oh, mate, thank you.
Just kept me going.
Honestly, thank you, man. All right, team, that's us. That's the episode over. Again, I cannot thank Andy enough for giving up his time and coming into the studio to sit down and spend a couple of hours with me. It was great to see him, great to catch up, and it was just a delight to spend some time with him. So to Andy, again, mate, thank you so much for coming in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It was wonderful. It was nice. It was a laugh. It was sad at points as well. And I enjoy speaking to people who knew Mal. You know, it makes me learn more about my mate. And I suppose, even though I think about him every single day, there are times during conversations about him where, you know, it still feels like he's with us, and he will always be with me anyway. But it's just nice to talk to people who knew him in a different way than I did, and who knew him for his work as well. So again, to Andy, thank you so much, and I urge you all, please go on Spotify and check out Andy's stuff, and go on Discogs, like he says, and look at all the incredible Scottish dance music and rave music that he has been involved in over the years, because the man is an incredible talent. So once again, to Andy, thank you so much, and thank you, to the heroes, as always, for supporting the show, for subscribing. If you are listening to this on Spotify, please do follow the show on Spotify. If you can get a chance, please go onto YouTube and subscribe to the channel, because I really need to get those numbers up. So, to everybody who comments, to everybody who shares the stuff on the socials, thank you so much. To the hashtag heroes who continue to support this podcast and help keep the studio going, I cannot thank you enough. So once again, thank you all. That was the wonderful Andy Haldane. We'll be back next week with another podcast. We've got some more guests lined up. Should be good. As always, stay safe, look after yourself. Love is our currency. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Onwards.
Goodbye, dear hero. It's been a blast. For another week we say adios. If you came as a friend or even foe, then you should become a hashtag hero. Spread the show as far as you can. 1 million heroes or a lifetime ban. All we do is speak our minds. We hope you're around for the ride. We are the hashtag show. Everyone's welcome. No one is safe. Winter is coming, but we hate snowflakes. This is the hashtag show. Become a hashtag hero. Become a hashtag hero. Become a hashtag hero. Until next time, love, love, love.